Insulin and glucagon are both produced by cells within the pancreas, and they're produced by specialized region of the pancreas known as the islets of Langerhans, or more specifically, what most people are now just starting to refer to as the pancreatic islets. Okay, and so insulin is produced by beta cells in the islets, and glucagon is produced by alpha cells. Okay, so you have alpha and beta cells, alpha producing glucagon, beta producing insulin. And both of these hormones, which are released from these islets of Langerhans inside of the pancreas, are involved in blood glucose regulation. Insulin works to reduce blood glucose levels, and as such, it is released as a result of high blood glucose levels. But indirectly, in reality, glucose is actually released, or insulin is released as a result of high ATP levels. Right, so if we have lots of glucose around, we're probably using that to produce ATP, right? So we have high ATP levels, and what happens is these high ATP levels actually block potassium channels on these beta cells. And so if we're going to block potassium channels, what that's going to lead to is it's going to lead to an increase in our intracellular voltage, which is an increase in our cell membrane potential, right? So remember when we talked about membrane potentials, this is going to lead to an increase in the membrane potentials. Okay, and so that's going to do is it's going to cause these specialized vesicles to bind with the cell membrane, and it's going to cause exocytosis of these vesicles. And those vesicles are going to contain the insulin. Okay, so insulin will then target a variety of different cells and use a tyrosine kinase signal transduction pathway inside of those cells. And so as a result of that, that is going to promote glucose uptake by these cells. Okay. And if we take up that glucose by the cells, right, that is essentially going to lower the blood glucose levels. Now, glucagon produced by the alpha cells is a direct antagonist of insulin, right? And so if insulin is going to lower our blood glucose levels, what do we think glucagon is going to do? That's right, it's going to raise our blood glucose levels. Okay, so what's going to happen is that low blood glucose levels are going to trigger the release of glucagon, and it is going to bind to cells and use the cyclic AMP signal transduction pathway, and what it is going to stimulate is glycogen breakdown. So that glycogen is going to be broken down, and that is going to free up our glucose to be transported into the blood, and that is going to increase our blood glucose level. So these two hormones, insulin and glucagon, work in concert with one another to maintain your blood glucose levels. Right, so if our levels get too high, the body releases insulin. If the levels get too low, the body releases glucagon.